the first thing I start out with is concealer or foundation, or concealer or foundation. I just use concealer preferably, and I just put this everywhere it needs to go. But I apply it just like I would a foundation, and I usually mix my concealers and foundations. So I'll mix this with this really light concealer, but just use this where my highlights are. I go in with like a brush. This is the brush I use. It's dirty, sorry. But this is the brush I use. Next thing I do is go in with my powder to set my under eyes. And I use a mixture of the Laura Mercier and Fit Me. The Laura Mercier Translucent Honey, I think is what it's called. Translucent Honey. Something like that. And I mix them with my beauty blender. And then I just set underneath my eyes. This is a method I use because I have very oily skin. But if your skin is not as oily as mine, you don't need to use as much powder, but just make sure you set underneath your eyes. After that is set, I go in with the powder again and just set the highlights wherever I put the lighter shade of powder. That's where I go in and set. And then I go in with my bronzer slash contour. Either or is fine. And I use an angled brush like this for my bronzer and contour. And I never put it like right there. I always bring it up. Just like place it actually on top. Like how you usually put it down here. Put it on top of like your cheekbone. Like where you would normally put highlighter, put your contour up there. Like basically just buff that in. And make it like a nice blend. And you bring that powder up and around. But just make sure it's not down here. Bring it to the upper portion of your face. Okay, next step is I go in with the shade 30 by itself because it's a little bit darker. And I cut my contour, which is when you put powder right underneath. And I do that on both sides very briefly. And then I grab my other foundation brush. I have two of the same brush. This is the one I use for liquids and one for powders. And I use my powder brush and I just dust that off really fast. Like very briefly, because as you can see, it's already like what it needs to do. And if you leave it on too long, it will make you look ashy. And now is a step where you can decide what you want to do, because a lot of people don't do nose contour, a lot of people do. And nose contour is very tricky and not like easy to do. But how I do mine is I just follow, do you see that like natural curve in my eye, or shadow I should say? I feel like my natural bone structure into my nose like that. And then from there, I just go like straight down. After I'm finished with the nose, I kind of just lead it up into my brow. Yeah, I just lead it up into my brow and blend it into the front portion of my brow. Just grab that bronzer and pull like away from my eye, if that makes sense. And just push like against my natural crease. And then just follow like where that goes. Like whatever shape that makes, just define that shape. And just in an outward motion to just flick out your eye and give it more shape. And I do this on both sides. I always do very natural eye, because I don't like eyeshadow that much in colors, because then you have to like match them with your outfit. So I just do it very much. This is my everyday makeup look. Okay, next step I do is blush. I use a brush like this or even a brush like this works. It just depends on how much blush you want to use. But I use both of these for blush, but a nice big fluffy brush will work well. And what I do is just, if you have any palette, or if you actually have a blush, just you take from your blush, but since you have like, if you have like an eyeshadow palette, take it in like the red area, and you can mix with the orange too. Orange makes a very pretty blush on melanated skin tone. And what you want to do is just like carry, or just like dust your cheek, the upper part, like where you put your contour, but like in a diagonal. So I'll do that for both sides, and like dust. It depends on how much blush you want. I use a lot of blush, but if we're not planning on using as much blush as I do, don't add this much blush. Now I'm gonna finish my eyes with eyeliner and mascara. And I just do 2 lines like this. And it's okay to mess up like I just did, because at the end of the day, I'm gonna smoke it out and it'll look okay. Grab a black shade, not too much, and just smoke that out. So just like go on top and put your black on top of that and really smoke it out. So after I replicate that on the other eye, now I go in with my mascara. I use the Lash Paradise by Maybelline. I think it's by Maybelline. It's by something in the drugstore. Like you just go to like Walgreens, Walmart, you know, anywhere they have makeup, you can find this. This is supposed to be like a dupe for the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. And it really works. Like this is the applicator. This is my favorite mascara. This is my favorite mascara. It really makes my lashes look huge. Like actually, I use both NYX products. I use the NYX brow pencil. I don't know what it's called. The NYX micro brow pencil, and I use it in the shade Ash Brown. And I just brush my brows out like that. Then I go in with the NYX brow pen. It looks like this, and it's like an eyeliner kind of. And this is really good if you want to have natural looking eyebrows. So what I'm doing here is following the natural shape of my eyebrow and just like stroking the pen like upwards towards like the natural shape or the shape that you desire of your eyebrow. And that's what I do. Then I repeat that on the other side. As you guys can see, I did mess up on this brow a little bit. So now I go in with a concealer. I use a lighter concealer, and I just put it on the back of my hand like that. And I grab a brush similar to the sort of like this, or something smaller even, and I like squish it. And I dip into here. And I just clean up my brows. So what I do after that is blend out with my finger. I find this the easiest method because a brush is too big, and if you keep using the concealer brush, that just has more product and adds on. So I just use my finger and really just tap it out and blend it out into the rest of my eye, like eyelid, crease area. And if you want, so you can even go back in with that bronzer and lightly dust on top of that to blend it even more. I'm taking this big brush and putting powder on it and setting the concealer under my eyebrow and my eyebrow itself, because the NYX brow pen is a bit shiny and looks a bit fake. So what I do is go in with powder and then brush with the spoolie to like take away the ashy look. So that sets the concealer and my eyebrow so they'll last longer. The next step and final step is my lips. I use a brush like this for my lips actually. And I don't use a lip liner, but if you do have a lip liner, you can get a lip liner for like 99 cents anywhere at the drugstore. But what I do is grab a little bit of like a brown, like almost like a color you use in your brows, if you have dark brown brows, but like a brown shade, and I just like brush it over my lip like this. Now I'm just tapping that eyeshadow slash lip liner into like my lip, because I don't want there to be super harsh lines, so I just tap it in. I don't do the bottom lip because I like how it's just dark on the top and not on the bottom. A lot of people do both, but if you want, you can do both. And then I finish it out with the gloss. The gloss I'm using here is from Ulta Beauty. It's like the lip oil, that's what it's called. And I just go in with like lip gloss. You can use any lip gloss, it doesn't really matter at all, but you just put lip gloss on top of this. Okay, so guys, I lied about the last step. The last step I usually do is highlight. What I'm doing here is just tapping the tip of my nose with the highlighter. Then I move up to the bridge of my nose, as you can see, and just tap that out until it like blends out. I don't like a super harsh highlight. It just makes me look like I'm shining. And then I also take a little bit of the same highlighter and tap on like the top of my cheeks, on top of where I put the bronzer and blush, to give me just a natural little glow. If you're very oily like me, you honestly do not need highlight in your cheeks, because like after like an hour or so, you'll get oily and you'll have a natural highlight. But this is very good for pictures and camera like makeup. But in person, sometimes too much highlight on the cheek will look very textured and not pleasing. Now I'm just doing my inner corner highlight. Inner corner will really make your eyes pop and really make your look pull it together, because I feel like I look so bland without inner corner highlight or just highlight in general. But once you add highlight and gloss, everything just comes together. You look amazing. So this is my finished everyday makeup tutorial slash makeup guide review. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it made sense. I hope all of your questions were asked. Thank you for watching. Bye.